All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Last Call podcast. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, my co-host Geoff Lambert. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hanging in there. Had a fairly decent day in DFS, and did not have a good day anywhere else. But hey, I'll take the money, I suppose.
I had the opposite. I had a great day in season long. I think I'm going to take every one of my leagues this week, but terrible day in DFS. So
Yeah, I was telling you before. Of course, I'm doing pretty well in Scotfish this year, thankfully. But I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna pull this one out unless I get a miraculous second half from Waller and Carr, and then I need a little bit of help tomorrow as well. But it happens. So I think unless knock on wood, Armageddon happens for my team, I think I'll probably make the playoffs. So I should be in good shape. But you be greedy and win them all, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. Anybody that follows me know how much I hate kickers, and I'm starting a kicker this week for the first time in the Scotfish Bowl. So that tells you how my season is gone.
Yeah, Tyler, damn Tom Brady. Exactly, man. I had no idea what happened today. That was such a crazy game, and we'll get to that one soon enough, Tyler. But let's go ahead and rip through these games today, man. Go ahead and start it off.
We'll kick it off here with the tie. The Lions and the Steelers, 16-16. This game was ugly. Goff, 14 for 25, 114 yards. Actually had a 30-yard pass. So you figure he only had 114 yards with a 30-yard pass. That's pretty terrible. DeAndre Swift was beast, 33 for 130. I mean, that's a ton of carries. Jamar Jefferson came in and had a 28-yard touchdown. Unfortunately, he did get hurt. Godwin, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, had a 42-yard touchdown as well, running back. And then we got Rudolph, 30 for 50. Why they had Rudolph going 50 times, I will never know.
You got to realize though they played 75 minutes.
True, but I don't know, 50 times
in the rain too. That did kind of like, that was weird. Like I thought this would be more of a ground game, and for the Lions it was,
yeah.
But it was not for the
Steelers. They just thought they were going to air it out.
Yeah.
242, a pick and a touchdown. Najee Harris, pretty good day. 26 for 105, 4 for 28 through the air. Deontay Johnson, 7 for 83 and a fumble. So all those people that wanted to see Mason Rudolph over Big Ben, it's time to shut them up, you think?
Yeah, dude, I never really understood this in the first place. Look, I get it. Big Ben, he needs to go. They need to bring in the quarterback for the future. Guess what, Steelers fans? You do not have the quarterback of the future on your roster. We've seen the Mason Rudolph experiment back in 2019. He played a bunch. He went 5-5. He was very, very mediocre. And guess what? Their team was way better back then than it is now, especially today without Juju, without Claypool. I mean, back then, I don't totally remember exactly all the receivers they had, but I mean, they were arguably a better team then. It's just
what I did understand is I talked about it with a Steelers fan before the game is you got Mason Rudolph and you already know what Mason Rudolph is. Why not put Dwayne Haskins in there? I mean, I know you're a Washington football team fan and you have your feelings about Mr. Haskins, but I mean, at least he had a potential of some upside. I mean, I think Mason Rudolph, we saw what he was.
I suppose
Haskins looked good in the preseason.
Haskins, no,
not buying it.
I mean, look, we all know I don't actually root for Washington anymore, but, you know, they are on the local channels, and so I see a lot of them. And Haskins is just, I'm going to call it out like it is. He's an idiot. Like, he makes some plays. You're just like, what in the hell are you doing? Yep. And then, like, what was it, that one game where, like, he made that one great comeback, and he's on the sidelines taking pictures with the fans and all this other stuff. And then, like, Washington got, like, a fumble recovery or something, and he couldn't go in to, like, do victory formation because he wasn't paying attention. No. I mean, maybe, you know, he'll get his head on straight with them, but clearly not enough for him to start over Mason Rudolph. But again, I don't think they have the quarterback of the future on the roster right now. And, you know, I mean, I watched a lot of this game. Mason Rudolph was missing wide open guys. badly. I mean, they were just standing there, and he was throwing it way over their head or like way behind them or whatever. And this was before the rain really started, too. The rain didn't really start coming down until later in this game. It was, wet and nasty out there, kind of all day, but it wasn't terrible. He was just flat out missing guys. Steelers should have won this game pretty easily, and he's the reason why they lost or tied, I guess. I guess you can call it a loss when you tie with the Lions.
Yeah, 100%. All right, next game was a pretty high-scoring game, but it was very one-sided. Cowboys 43-3 over the Falcons. Matt Ryan was so bad he got pulled 9 for 21 for 117 yards, 2 interceptions. Cordell Patterson 4 for 25, 1 for 14. I mean, there wasn't much to talk about. Pitts, I think, didn't do a whole lot either. The other side, obviously, big game from Dak, 24 for 31, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zeke, not a big day on the ground, but did have 2 touchdowns to save his day. Pollard got involved in the passing game, 6 for 56, and Lamb had a monster day for 6 for 94 for 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I mean, kind of how we expected this game to go, right? I mean, I think the Falcons expected to score a little bit more points, but I think the Cowboys were pretty much favored in this game, and Falcons on the road just aren't good usually.
Yeah, I mean, I expected the Cowboys to take this game pretty easily. I don't know if 40 points easily, but, I think we've seen enough of Dallas this year where this defense is fairly solid. Whatever happened last week was I'm just blaming week 9 and the month of November changeover and daylight saving. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, they came back to play this week. And the only thing I would say to look out for here is Lamb did get banged up late in the game. So just something to keep an eye for going forward. But otherwise, you're loving what you see this week.
100% agree. All right, next game up, the Saints and the Titans. The Titans take this one 23-21. Trevor Siemian gets to start again this week. He goes up for almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ingram, 14 for 47, had 4 for 61 through the air, had a touchdown as well on the ground. Tannehill, not great, but good enough. 19 for 27, 213 and a touch. Dante Foreman, 11 for 30. AP, 8 for 21, not much on the ground. And A.J. Brown, 1 for 16 on 4 targets. How they won this game, I don't really know, but they ended up pulling it out. My question to you is, did Siemian do enough to get the starting job, or do you think you see Taysom Hill next week?
I don't see how they benched Siemian. I mean, yeah, it wasn't efficient, but he hasn't turned the ball over, and so there's something there. I think the problem with Siemian is that he's not making plays. He's just he's safe. Now, of course, they didn't have Kamara today, so take that with a grain of salt. Although Ingram was good, but I mean, I don't think anybody expected him to just replace Kamara. It's right. He just had more work today, and so he was a DFS target for sure. And I put him in my top 20 for my running back rankings, and kind of worked out. But yeah, I mean, I don't see how Hill is going to take over right now with Siemian. Touchdown to interception ratio in the last 2 games is 3-0.
Yeah.
He's kept them in the game. Yeah, I'm with you though. Like, I literally have no idea how Tennessee won this game. They had no offense today.
Nothing.
I was like, what? It just was like just baffling what happened here. And A.J. Brown wasn't involved at all. I kept flipping to this game on Red Zone, and I was like, A.J. Brown. Hey, this got to be A.J. Brown, right? Nope. Don't know how they threw the ball 27 times. Only 4 of them went to A.J. Brown. And I think there was actually a weird play very, very end of the game, and I haven't seen an update. But A.J. Brown went in to go block, and then he sort of slipped down, and he grabbed the top of his right leg, almost like groin area.
I didn't see
that.
But
I have not seen any update on that. So maybe it was just so late in the game it didn't get any attention. But I'm super worried about that as somebody who has him on a couple rosters. So yeah, be on the lookout there.
Agreed. All right, let's move to the next game here. Colts and Jaguars. Colts take this game 23-17. Trevor Lawrence, 16 for 35, 162. Didn't throw a touchdown or a pick. J-Rob comes back this week, 12 for 57, 4 for 27 through the air. Jamal Agnew, 3 for 79 and a rushing touchdown. He basically had it all in one play, really, but pretty
Yeah,
excited to watch.
like 66 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Dan Arnold, who was sort of the chalk DFS play for tight end, 567,
Absolutely.
and really, really good lately. Wentz, 22 for 34 for 180 yards. He was also a pretty chalky play in DFS, and actually he's the reason that I had a bad day because I did play him.
Oh,
And then JT, 20 for 116 in the touch. Pittman, 571 through the air. And you have a tweet that you put out there that you have here. I want you to read that tweet that you got there.
this game I thought was going to be done. Like halftime, game over. Red zone's not going to flip to this game very much, right? Except for garbage time. Because in the first quarter, Jonathan Taylor had 10 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. The first quarter. The Colts were up 17-6. Frank Reich must have just been to the sideline like, hey, we're good. We're just going to let Carson Wentz win the rest of this game for us. We're only going to run the ball in regulation. Or, at the time that I saw this with like 8 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, they had given the ball to Jonathan Taylor 8 more times. And he had like 114 yards or at that point or something like that, or 112 yards. The score at that point, by the way, 20-17.
Yep.
The Colts had only scored 3 more points. They had almost let the Jaguars come back and take the lead because they just decide for some weird reason not to use the Jonathan Taylor. It's either in the beginning of the game they don't use him. At this point, it was like, hey, we're just going to pound it with him in the first quarter and then totally forget about our best player.
Yep.
I have no idea what is happening. I also realized it when right after I sent this tweet, Wentz at this point with about 8 minutes left to go had 112 yards passing. Jonathan Taylor had 112 yards rushing. Figure this out, Frank Reich. Stop relying on Wentz. Wentz is fine, but it's almost like Derrick Henry and the Titans where Tannehill is better when you rely on the running game and the play action and things like that. Like, it's just, this isn't working. So this one just is, it frustrates the hell out of me. Because I did play Jonathan Taylor in a couple of my DFS lineups, and thankfully, it still worked because he had a, good day overall because of the first quarter. But it couldn't have
had a monster day.
Could have been huge. The only other thing I want to say here is, J-Rob looked good on his first game back from the heel injury, so hopefully he came out unscathed. They said he couldn't injure it anymore. It was just more of a pain tolerance thing, so it's good that he finally got in the end zone. It was late in the game, but they were still in it, so hey, you like to see that he was still involved. And then Dan Arnold, yeah, man, like I was pumping him up big time. I heard some stat, I think it was actually on the ESPN fantasy show on Sunday mornings, where they said Dan Arnold in the last 3 weeks prior to this one was the second most targeted tight end in all of football behind Travis Kelce.
Right.
But that's all I've been saying with Dan Arnold is like he's just a target monster at this point. Once he got to Jacksonville, he's been great.
Been good. Yep. He definitely has been. He's just in tight ends, really, if you don't have one of those top guys, all you want is volume. Exactly. Just give me 5-6 targets a game, and that's all you can ask.
Even if you do have some of the top guys like Waller tonight, right? He's had 2 catches for 7 yards. Not getting it done, guys.
Yep, agreed. All right, this one was surprising to me. The score was at least the Patriots blow out the Browns 45-7. Mayfield is terrible, 11 for 21 for 73 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He actually got hurt in this game. Dearness Johnson was pretty good, had just under 100 yards, also had 58 yards through the air. Landry, not so great, 4 for 26. On the other side, Mac Jones was super efficient, 19 for 23, 198, 3 touchdowns. The rookie Stevenson had a big game, 20 for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Jacoby Meyer, 4 for 49, and he finally gets a touchdown. Did you see the whole team came out?
The entire team, that was fantastic. I don't know. I meant to look up the actual how many touchdowns or how many games or how many catches he's had without a touchdown.
It goes back to college.
It's ridiculous. Doesn't we go all the way back to college?
He goes all the way back to college.
Oh,
I think that's all it's said, that it was something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's good for him though, man. Finally get that off. It was a late game here too, so Yeah, snaps record-setting touchdown. I'm gonna look this up while you keep talking.
All right.
I want to find. I actually because I meant to look it up and totally forgot.
So my thing is Stevenson. I drafted Stevenson in a lot of my dynasty leagues. Been waiting for him to kind of do this, but they still got Damian Harris there. It's still Bill Belichick. It's still Brandon Bolden might get mixed in there a little bit. Can you trust Stevenson at any point this season? You think if Damian Harris is healthy?
If Harris is healthy, I mean, he goes to desperation flex mode. I think
Touchdown dependent kind of guy.
It really is. It really is tough. But I mean, like he proves that he can get that. I mean, like the Browns are phenomenal on defense. Like this really shocked me, as you said earlier. It was a very shocking score. Yeah, I mean, it's just. I also would have thought Bolden would have been more involved, but he wasn't. I think he actually might have gotten banged up too. I forgot to follow through on looking that one up, but I did see him get banged up a little early, but it seemed like he came back in the game. But yeah, I mean Stevenson looked fantastic, and but I mean Harris has been good too, so it's hard to see. I mean at best,
this
I think
this
like
offensive line is just
split.
The offensive line is dominant. I mean, they barely even touched Mac Jones at all, and Stevenson had huge holes.
I did find the stat, and I didn't. So this one doesn't go back to college. So if there's more in college, then that's even more crazy. But coming into Week 10, he owned the record for most catches, 131, and most receiving yards, 1,511, by a receiver in league history, without scoring a touchdown. That's a lot.
That's crazy.
That is totally crazy. But yeah, as soon as he scored, man. Yeah, you're right. The whole team came in, and I tweeted something. I was like, I'm so happy for him. Like, it's just like, maybe, look, at this point, it's almost like now that he's got it, like, they're just going to, you almost just expect them to just,
the floodgates are going to open.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Yep.
Raiders just scored Brian Edwards here. So, let's see what
that'll help my showdown lineup right there.
Yeah, 17, almost 14, hopefully, with the extra point. So, yeah, there we go.
All right, so let's move to the next game here. Another blowout. The Bills 45-17, and that 17 wasn't even close. I think they got those 2 touchdowns super late in junk time. Josh Allen goes back to being a beast. So if you're worried about him after last week, no need to worry there. He had over 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Diggs finally had one of those big games that we wanted him to have, 8 for 162 and a touchdown. The backfield, as always, kind of split there with Singletary, Moss, and Breida. I think all 3 of them scored, right? All 3 of them had a touchdown.
Yeah, and Matt Breida scored in the air as well. So, yeah, where the hell did Matt Breida come from? I forgot he was on this team. I am not going to lie about that one, man. He touched the ball today, and I was like, wait, who? Wait, Matt Breida? Are you serious? And then he scored twice. I'm like, oh, that's just making me mad, man.
Yeah.
Because I got Zach Moss in a few places.
Oh, you got both.
Nothing out of that. Well, I got a little something, but yeah, not what I wanted.
On the other side, Mike White, just absolutely terrible. 24 for 44, 251, had no touchdowns, but 4 interceptions, and they were all pretty bad looking. Michael Carter gets into the end zone, saves his fantasy day if you played him. Corey Davis continues to be a solid, if not spectacular kind of receiver with 5 for 93 on a bad team. So the Mike White experiment, everyone talking about him being the next thing and putting Zach Wilson on the bench and everything else, it's pretty much over with now, right? I mean, it's Zach Wilson's team when he comes back healthy.
I guess. I mean, it's not like Wilson's been good. I mean, we've seen games like this from Wilson, so I suppose. I mean, I don't know when Wilson's expected back at this point. But, if, say he misses one more game and then Mike White comes out next week and just blows up, I mean, then then it's a whole other conversation again, right?
We'll put it all around again.
Because we just haven't seen it from Zach Wilson except for what? The preseason?
Yep.
I mean, we saw it in week 2 against New England. 210, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Then the very next week against Denver, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's only thrown 4 touchdowns the entire season.
Yep.
Mike White has thrown 5 touchdowns the entire season in 3 games. I mean, it's still possible that this could, be a battle. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think, because of the draft capital, though, they'll probably give it back to Zach Wilson, as they should.
Yeah.
But, maybe going into the camp next year, they think, okay, it's going to be an open competition. We'll see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah. I mean, I think when he first got to start, you didn't even know who the hell Mike White even was.
Nope, not a clue. Not going to lie. No idea.
All right, let's move to the final early game. The Washington football team beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. Raise your hand if you had that one picked on your sheets over there, because I don't think anybody had that one, especially with Brady coming off a bye week and everything else. It was just it wasn't pretty. Brady with 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks,
one pick.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. One of them a fumble.
We're getting a stat correction. At least I'm gonna make it happen in my leagues, because that was
make it
BS, man.
Fournette 11 for 47, 8 for 45 through the air. Godwin 7 for 57. Evans saves his day with a touchdown, 2 for 62 on a touch. Heineke pretty good. He had 256 yards and a touchdown. Gibson finally kind of showed up. I think he had that week to heal. Looked pretty good. 24 for 64 and 2 touchdowns, which against that defense is really a really good stat line. McLaurin 6 for 59. I think he got banged up at one point in this game, didn't he?
He came out, I think it was like second quarter, came back in though. He also took a shot late though, man. He got crushed when they were trying to seal the game late, and Heineke threw the ball over the middle, like right around like the 15-yard line to Tampa, and he caught it for the first down. They kind of sealed the game. Took a shot, man. I thought he was done, and he just popped up, and I was like,
ooh. Yeah, I saw something about a collarbone injury, and I was like, oh man, if it's collarbone injury, he's probably out for quite a while. But then I heard, he's back in the game. I'm like, well, I guess it wasn't that serious. So good stuff. So let's talk about the Bucs side of things. Like, what's wrong with the Bucs? I mean, this team was lighting it up. Put up all kinds of crazy numbers. They've had 2 weeks in a row now. Well, I guess the bye week in the middle, but they struggled quite a bit.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of, like they're obviously dealing with Gronk being banged up, and that hurts. I mean, Gronk's not, Gronk from 5 years ago, but he still brings a lot of attention, and Brady really likes him, especially when he needs that trustworthy short yardage catch. He looks Gronk's way. Right now, that short yardage catch is becoming Leonard Fournette, who caught 8 today. Like, Brate is not, a trustworthy tight end. There was a play very early in the game where Brady threw him the ball, and Brate wasn't even looking. It's just like he was like running a crossing route, and just Brate's just like, rah, 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 the ball goes right by him, and it was like, okay. So I don't think he got thrown to again after that. But it looks, so they're missing Gronk, they're missing AB, and so yeah, Brady's. I think they're gonna figure it out eventually. Tom Brady's too good to have this keep going on. But I am very, very shocked to see them struggle this badly against Washington, who has arguably one of the worst defenses in the league, and they lost Chase Young today.
Yep.
Midway through the third quarter. And so you thought at that point, and I think it was close at that point, or at least right after that, they scored to make it close. And then Washington scored again to just kind of pull away and make it another 2-score game, and they just ran out of time. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think, it's just one of those, like, we've seen this with Buffalo. They kind of had their lull, and now, boom, like they just exploded. So hopefully once people get healthy, they'll figure it out. I mean, like, the other thing to think about with Buffalo, again, right, is they got back Dawson Knox today. You get back your weapons, the whole offense opens back up. So you can't key on, just one or two guys. So I think Tampa just needs to get healthy again.
Yeah, I think, Dawson Knox didn't do much, at least in the stat sheets, but he did enough to open up Diggs. I mean, Diggs
attention.
Just
you've got to pay attention to Dawson Knox, especially in the red zone. And yeah, it makes a huge difference. So
definitely. All right, let's switch to the late games.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off here with the Carolina Panthers and the Cardinals, and this was another shocker, man. I thought with even without Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, after what the Cardinals were able to do last week, I thought they would at least keep it close, but not Not quite.
Didn't
man.
happen.
Carolina 34, Cardinals 10. PJ Walker got the start here, 22 for 29. Very, very efficient. Not much in the stat line, though, for fantasy. 167, 0 touchdowns, and a pick. Cam Newton, though. Oh, baby.
He's back. If you didn't see that little clip.
Oh, yeah. By the way, he's back. I'm sure that is all over Twitter. And, yeah, he got two red zone snaps within like the 5-yard line within the first 6 minutes of this game because they got turnovers, and ran one in and then passed one in. And of course, Christian McCaffrey owners are screaming at him, and I
we are.
I sent out a tweet about that as well because I am one of them. But CMC still got his overall, 13 for 95 in the running game, 10 catches for 66. I did read something on Slack, Sleeper Alerts, that his hamstring is still bothering him, so I think they might have shut him down early.
They
in this
did,
game.
yeah. He was in the blue tent for a short time. He did come back and play a little bit after the tent incident, but then he went back out and didn't play. I think the most of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so that's just something to keep an eye on. Hopefully, it's just that it was just sore, that he didn't actually like re-injure it. Anyway, Robbie Anderson, 4 for 37 and a touchdown. That was one of those like early down passes that was one of the ones that Cam Newton had to Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore, still nothing.
Nothing.
I don't know what to do with DJ Moore, guys. He's benched indefinitely, in my opinion. On the Cardinal side, McCoy was awful and got injured. 11 for 20, 107 yards and a pick. I think he fumbled at least once. It was not good. Connor didn't do anything like what he did last week. Thankfully scored 39 yards rushing and a touchdown. Christian Kirk, 758, so at least in PPR, you're happy there. I mean, there's so many ways to go with this. Like, if CMC is healthy here, he's an automatic like top 3 running back every week, right?
He's the only running back that I can think of off the top of my head that could not score a touchdown but have what do you have, 27 points today, 28 fantasy points, something like that, and didn't score a touchdown.
Just about, yeah. Full PPR, absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
It's not. I mean, that's really the only reason why I used him in DK, because it is full PPR.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have paid about 400 less for JT. And but with full PPR, you're thinking, well, CMC is going to just get checked down all day.
And that's exactly what happened.
So going to, I think where the storyline of the game is the quarterback situation for Carolina. So obviously they bring in Cam this week, and he does get very, very limited snaps, but made a big difference early on. Do you see them switching to Cam full time maybe next week? And if they do, what does that do for the rest of this offense?
So it's tough because Cam Newton didn't play in this offense. People are like, oh, he can just come right in. He played in Carolina before, but he didn't play for this offense. Matt Rule wasn't there as the coach, so it was a totally different team. So he has to learn the playbook. And if we knew anything from his days with the Patriots, he had trouble learning the playbook there. So depending on how fast he can pick this playbook up. Now, I don't know anything about playbooks. I've never actually tried to learn one myself. But I'd imagine the Patriots one's probably pretty complicated. I don't know how complicated the one is that in Carolina, so maybe he can pick it up much faster. But the fact of the matter is, PJ Walker ain't doing no favors to him either. So it's like, if Cam Newton is going to be, even a half of what he was when he was there, even 30%, I think he's still better than PJ Walker is. So I think Cam Newton starts before we know it. Probably this coming up week.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if he does, like, are you maybe trying DJ Moore one more time, or you just want to wait and see? Because at this point, like, I mean, DJ Moore's been bad since about week 3.
I think I want Anderson, honestly. I think if I could buy super low at Anderson right now, I think Anderson's skill set fits Cam a little bit better. Cam likes to throw the deep ball. He's never been much of a guy, except when he had Steve Smith. He was more of like underneath guy, but Cam will throw that deep ball. I think Anderson fits that role a little bit better. So if I can buy low at Anderson, I think that's what I'm going to do.
My problem with Anderson is that even when he was getting thrown the ball, I mean, Darnold was at least still throwing it to Anderson early on. Anderson was just flat out dropping it.
Good point.
So it was bizarre. Next game here, Vikings-Chargers. Vikings win this one 27-20. Chargers on a slide, man. I don't know what to do with them. Cousins, 25 for 37, 294 and 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 24 for 94 and a touchdown, caught 3 for 24. Justin Jefferson just balling out again, 9 for 143. And Thielen, 5 for 65, no touchdowns for him. On the Chargers side, Herbert, 20 for 34, only 195 yards, at a touchdown and a pick. Eckler, 44 rushing yards, only caught 3 for 15, but did fall in the end zone there, so thankfully kind of saved his day. Keenan Allen, 8 for 98, so, in PPR leagues, you're plenty happy there. I mean, even with this touchdown for Eckler, like, it hasn't been...
Has not been
what
good.
we were seeing early on. Like he's sort of just saving his day from either just a lot of usage but not scoring, or just like randomly falling in the end zone. I mean, how worried are we about, I guess, really this entire Chargers offense? It hasn't been good the last few weeks.
Yeah, Herbert hasn't been good. Mike Williams hasn't been good. Eckler hasn't been good. I mean, really the only guy that's been consistent is Keenan Allen, and he's the only one that's really, been good enough to start and feel comfortable about it. But yeah, Eckler does worry me. I think a few weeks ago, you were talking about how he might be the number 1 running back overall this year, and now I'm looking at it like, man, is he even going to finish in the top 12? I think he will, because I do think he scores enough touchdowns to get enough PPR points to do it. But if you got kind of used to those big games early in the season, it's probably not going to happen so much as we thought it was going to happen. This Chargers offense has not looked as good in the past few weeks as it did in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have some big games coming up here, but it just was a weird... It does feel like this offense is just going in the wrong direction, and I don't know if it's, there's some injury somewhere, offensive line issues, or if...
What happened to Mike Williams?
Right? I was just about to say, it is weird, right? As soon as, really since week 5, right, which is when the last time we were all talking about them, and they've lost 3 of the last 4 since week 5. That's the last big Mike Williams game. And it seems like since then his usage has gone down. Now, I don't know if that is a defensive adjustment for the teams, or if it is they decided to stop using him the same way, which makes zero sense because it was working. Go back to that. 12 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets. Then I guess the Raiders randomly only 4, but then back to 16 targets. And then since then, 5, 5, 5. And then this, today was, what was today? I don't have the box score up for today's game, but it was...
Yeah, I don't have it up
6
either.
6 targets.
6.
So, and in those games, Baltimore, 2 receptions. New England, 2 receptions. Philly, 2 receptions. Today was 4, but it was only for 33 yards. Like, I feel like they're just using him differently. Yep. So I think coaching staff needs to look themselves in the mirror and realize they need to utilize him the way they were early on. And it changed this offense drastically, and just made everybody better. So I don't know.
Agreed.
Next game here, Eagles-Broncos. Eagles 30, Broncos 13. Jalen Hurts 16 for 23, so fairly efficient, but 178 yards, but 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, ran for 53 yards. That's backfield, man. Jordan Howard, 12 for 83. Boston Scott, 11 for 81. Devonta Smith, man, balled out on only 4 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Had probably maybe the play of the game, at least, on that touchdown pass that he caught.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Broncos side here, Teddy Bridgewater, 22 for 36, 226 yards, nothing else. Javonte Williams, sorry. We got 8 for 48 for Javonte Williams. We got 9 for 45 and a touch for Mel Gordon. We got an Albert O signing. I'm not saying that last name either.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even put it on the sheet.
3 for 77. He had a long one. I think it was a 64-yard catch and run. So pretty much all in one play. And then Noah Fant also chipped in here with 5 for 59. I will say Judy caught 6 only for 48, but you like the usage there at least.
Yeah.
Sutton is again taking a distant third at this point still.
Yeah.
Because Tim Patrick saw 6. So just trends, guys. Keep an eye on those trends. We told you to sell Sutton. So I hope you listen to us. Want to ask you though, like, we talked about this running game last week, and I think it's kind of the same answer, so I'm not going to go there. But Devonta Smith, man, what do we think about him the rest of the season? Is he somebody that it's almost like automatic plug and play now? I think
he's getting there.
It's
definitely tough because if you look at Hurts, I mean, he threw the ball 16 times. So when you look at that, he threw the ball 23 times, completed 16 of them. So it makes me a little bit nervous in that sense because there's not enough passing volume, but he is looking his way, on those big plays and down the field. So I think he's still boom or bust, but I think he'll have more boom and then bust towards the end of the season than he did in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think he's still going to be pretty hit or miss, unfortunately, like you said, just because of the passing volume. So,
this was like the battle of the split backfields. You got two teams that just don't want to commit to one guy.
Yeah, might as well throw who was the other team we were talking about earlier?
Patriots?
Bills.
Oh, the Bills, yeah.
The Bills, man, they decided to split 3 guys, and again, we have no idea what's going to happen when Miles Sanders actually returns. So, good luck. Last game here, Seahawks and Packers, and this was kind of a meh game all around. Seahawks 0, Packers 17. Wilson did not look good today. I don't know if it's just rust or whatever, but 20 for 40, 161 yards, 2 picks, and they weren't pretty. Like, they were bad throws. Alex Collins wasn't good, 10 for 41. Everett just got peppered, 8 for 63, but none of the receivers did anything on this team. So that stunk. I did start DK in a few lineups here, so as most people probably did. On the Packers side here, Rodgers, on his first game back from COVID, wasn't Rodgers-esque either. 23 for 37, 292, 0 touchdowns and a pick. Devontae Adams 7 for 78. Probably the storyline of this game really comes down to the Packers running game, and it's the fact that A.J. Dillon led the way with 7 for 78. 21 for 66 and 2 touchdowns, and caught 2 for 62, including a 50-yard catch and run. Most of this came late in the game after Aaron Jones looks like he might have sprained his MCL. Hopefully it's not more. They're going to do MRIs tomorrow. But he wasn't even having that good of a game. 7 for 25, caught 4 for 61. But A.J. Dillon, man, like, where are you, like, looking at him rankings-wise most weeks,
if
kind
Jones
of
is out,
ballpark range with Jones out.
Yeah, he's definitely a high-end RB2, low-end RB1, depending on matchup, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good offense. He got 21 carries and didn't really even play as a starter the entire game in this one. I know it was a different kind of game script, but, if he's getting that kind of workload and that offense, sure, I'll put him up in that top 12 range some weeks.
I always loved A.J. Dillon, and, granted, I watch a lot of ACC football because that's the territory I'm in, and Virginia Tech, and, I watched Dillon in college, and he just destroyed people. He's just a big back. He's physical, but he's also super athletic.
Yeah.
Like, he's not athletic like, some of these, like, shifty backs like a DeAndre Swift or something like that, but he's just athletic. He'll make guys miss just because he's big, and all of a sudden he'll just, like, jump cut, and you're like, oh, yeah, holy crap.
He's deceptive is what it is. You think you got him pinned down, and all of a sudden he jump cuts, and you're not in front of him anymore.
You expect him to just try to run you over, and he'll just be like, "Oh no, I'm just gonna go that way now," and he just does it, and it's just crazy. So yeah, I like Dillon, and he's faster than you think he is. Like, game speed, he's fast. Like, his 40 time probably wasn't great, but his game speed is much faster than anything, and so I like him. I think I agree with you. Low end RB1, high end RB2 most weeks. I don't like him almost even more now because Boston College, and he used to slam the Hokies, and now he slammed my Scott Fishbowl. 20-point swing in the fourth quarter of that game when I thought I had a chance, and probably not. So anyway, I think that's all we got for the show, man. I think we are looking at a 24-14, I believe, and somebody just fumbled for the Raiders. And
yeah, it's a deep pass. He tried to do some weird. I don't know what he was even doing.
I don't even know. He was just like running in circles. Like, I don't know what he was doing, man. Looked like my kid on one of those like spinny things at the playground. I didn't. He was like he was just doing it himself, and then all of a sudden
he lost where he was
like,
on the field or something. It was
yeah, good job, man. So yeah, it's gonna be Kansas City ball here, middle of the third quarter. So
who was that fumble? Was it Deshaun Jackson? Maybe it was number one, and I don't remember anybody on that.
Yeah, I was just wondering the same thing because I actually don't know who number one is either.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Like, no, it's
that
not.
Might be like, was he lost? Was he trying to go the wrong way? I don't. Maybe that was Deshaun
Jackson. Yep.
Yeah, good job, man. Welcome to the team. You fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
Good work, man. You are benched. So, all right. I think that's all we got for the show, man. Remind everybody where they can find you and what you got going on.
Find me on Twitter at Geoff Lambert 77. You could find us on the Going for Two Live podcast network on everything: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever you can find your shows. We're there.
Yeah, man. And I'm Joe Bond at F6PJoe, founder of FantasySixpack.net. Obviously, check it out. And we got the YouTube channel that you're watching this on, hopefully. And yeah, good luck with you guys in week 10 the rest of the way. Peace.